Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Fox with WESH 2 News and WESH.com, and this is another in our series of debates, our Commitment 2026 promise to bring you not only debates, but also candidate profiles, get the facts, and other information you need to know this election year. Today, we're talking to the two Democrats in the House District 46 race. Let's give you a look at the district map. It includes a big chunk of Osceola County, including Kissimmee, stretching down to Poinciana, and west to just outside Walt Disney World. Our two candidates are incumbent Jose Alvarez and Robert Llewellyn Johnson. Gentlemen, thanks a lot for joining us. We really appreciate you being able to share your views and show how you would serve in House District 46 in Tallahassee. We're going to begin by giving you each a chance for a 1-minute opening statement. Mr. Alvarez, we'll begin with you.
Good morning. My name is Jose Alvarez. I'm the state representative for House District 46, which is the heart of Osceola County. This will be my second term that I'm running for. I first got elected into office in 2012 as a city commissioner for the city of Kissimmee, and then in 2016 as the mayor of Kissimmee. After I finished my term, then I was appointed by President Biden to be the HUD regional administrator for Region 4. When I finished my term with President Biden, I thought I was done, and then I was asked to run for House District 46. Public service is something that I love to do. I'm a real estate broker by trade, so this is my passion. This is my way to give back. I am a Cuban refugee. I came into this country in 1972 when I was 7 years old from Cuba. And so I look at public service as a way to give back to my community. And I thank all the voters for continuing to support me in being their public servant.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Johnson, 1 minute, please.
Good morning, and thank you for having me, Mr. Fox. I'm Dr. Robert Llewellyn Johnson, and I've been officially inducted into the prestigious Marquis Who's Who biographical registry and the global director of Who's Who in recognition of my exceptional contribution to public policy, to veterans advocacy, and to military service. I'm a candidate for District 46. I'm a veteran of Gulf War I and Gulf War II, and during Gulf War I, I stood side by side with my soldiers in the defeat of Saddam Hussein. I lost 28 soldiers in that conflict to a Scud attack that was lobbied into Tehran by Saddam Hussein. And it took, again, 28 of my soldiers. And before I wore the uniform, I was a child born on a cotton plantation in Mississippi. So I've learned how to manage political issues and also domestic issues.
All right, thank you very much. And I think you wanted to make note you're wearing your uniform today, not as an endorsement, but...
Absolutely. I want to let the public know that I'm wearing my uniform today, not as an endorsement from any particular service, but as a recognition of my soldiers that I lost in Gulf War, which are 28, the soldiers that are in Iran, and the soldiers that are missing in action from the various wars. Again, thank you all for your service. We really, really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you both for your opening statements. We really appreciate that. I want to talk about the ballot measure that everyone is talking about that's on the November ballot, the Save Our Homes property tax cut that could take $5 billion in revenue away from city and county governments just in the first year and $12 billion annually by year 5. Let's talk about the hit to Kissimmee, where Mr. Alvarez used to be mayor. That could look like $15 million in just the first year. Are you voting for or against it, Mr. Alvarez, and why or why not?
So I'm voting against it the same way that I voted against it in the floor of the House this year when it was brought down for us to pass. It's something that is going to affect our communities, our local municipalities. 18% of property tax is the revenues of the city of Kissimmee, almost 40% in the city of St. Cloud in Osceola County. This will affect a lot of the services that our constituents depend on. And unfortunately, it was brought to us in one day and we had to make a decision in one day. Even though we spent almost 70 extra special sessions to pass a state budget, in one day we destroyed the budget of all municipalities in the state of Florida.
All right, thank you. Mr. Johnson, are you voting for or against it, and why or why not?
This is a very, very slippery slope in that Florida saves our homes, or rather, Florida Save Our Home tax cuts offer a significant benefit by capping property taxes, increasing for homeowners, but it also has drawbacks, potential inequities for new buyers, challenges in funding local services. And so I'm voting in accordance to how my constituents in 46 see. I would be meeting with my constituents as a representative and getting their views on whether or not they want to have their taxes saved, and or whether or not they understand that this is going to incur other additional expenses to replace those.
So if I understand, to wrap this up, you're right now you're undecided. You're going to wait to hear what constituents tell you.
Absolutely. I want to hear what my constituents want to do.
A follow-up question when we're talking about the Save Our Homes property tax cut amendment is that cities and counties may want to turn to raising fees in other areas to be able to continue to have services in the cities. Mr. Johnson, would you support a bill that would prevent cities and counties, if this measure passes, from raising other fees to make up for those lost revenues?
Absolutely. One of the things that my constituents are saying is that they can't afford their houses as it is because of various issues such as property taxes, etc. So to make up this difference, I propose getting additional funding from the federal government and supplementing whatever we lose in the Save Our Home tax cut.
All right, Mr. Alvarez, would you file or support a bill that would prevent cities and counties from raising other fees to make up for the lost revenues?
Here's the problem you find. So the legislature cannot prohibit a municipality from creating a fee. The legislature had the authority to legislate property taxes. And this is what we were trying to get across the aisle to the members, is that we can fix the cap, we can fix the property tax. This is not a tax loss, this is a tax shift. Municipalities won't have another choice but to create fees. Over 60% of our budget in the city of Kissimmee goes straight to police and fire. The legislature said you must fund it fully. Where is the money going to come from? Unless the legislature has a tree that grows money on it, there is no ways to raise revenues. The revenues will affect, the first thing that will be affected is businesses, renters, and fees will be created to maintain a normal level of services, not even the full services that is needed.
All right. So let's talk about other potential bills. Let's get an idea of your priorities. Mr. Alvarez, if sent back to Tallahassee, what will be the first bill that you will file and why?
So we're right now in the process of looking at bills that we're going to file. Of course, one of the bills that I will bring that I ran in this past session was the Ellis Law, which it was brought to me by the sheriff of Orange County for me to run that bill, which is to protect children, like what happened to our officer Ellie here in Orange County. And so that exactly is the top choice of my bills that I'm going to do. And as we set through the summer working on bills that will come up, we will get them through the system. But Ellie's Law will be the priority bill this year.
All right, Mr. Johnson, if you were elected, what will be the first bill you would file and why?
As I said in the onset of my introduction, my veterans are coming from the war, and a lot of them don't have places to live. In fact, we have approximately 32,000 veterans in the U.S. that are homeless. We have 120 veterans in Osceola County that are homeless, and we have over 3,000 veterans here in Florida that are homeless. I would like to create legislation that allows Florida to acquire underutilized or authorized structures or property and convert them into veterans villages with wraparound services so that we could give our veterans PTSD treatment, so we could give our veterans mental health treatment, so that we could give our veterans TBI treatment, so we could give our veterans substance abuse treatment and jobs.
All right, thank you. Mr. Alvarez, if I'm counting correctly, you sponsored 18 bills in your first 2 years in office. Just one became law. Persuade voters that in the situation that you may be in, if you're reelected and if there's still a Republican majority, how would you get things done? Or are you finding yourselves making inroads working with the other party?
So since I got elected and I served in 2 sessions, I actually had 3 bills that became law. This year, this session, we had actually 2 bills that became law. I passed 3 in the House, 2 that went through the Senate, and as you know, it's got to pass through the Senate to get it through the governor. Governor signed both of my bills. The bills I co-sponsored, they all went through. One of them was actually housing for veterans, so that's something that is a big priority for the entire legislature body. So we will continue to work hard for our community.
Okay, and just to clarify what I was saying is the bills that you sponsored and you sponsored alone, not co-sponsored, just so we're okay on our math here. Mr. Johnson, if you're elected and sent to Tallahassee, can you do better? Convince voters.
Absolutely. Of course, like I indicated, I would be talking with my voters to understand what their priorities are, and I will be. Give me a synopsis of the question again. It's gone. Ask the question again.
Well, in other words, Democrats are going to have to make a choice in this race. Convince those in District 46 that you can do better and make stronger inroads than Mr. Alvarez.
I've spent 38 years in the federal government working in military acquisition. We acquired the presidential helicopter. We acquired the trainers in Quantico to train the president, the Marine Corps. We acquired the F-35s. We acquired the aircraft carriers. So in order to get it for both domestic and international, France, Brazil, etc., in order to get that, we had to communicate with these stakeholders. And we had to come to an agreement as to what's our portion in this and what's their portion in this. And we also had to bring in the contractors like Lockheed Martin. So all these entities had to work together in order to make these programs effectively. That's the strategy I'll be using.
Let's stay with Mr. Johnson here for a second. I know you mentioned a moment ago that you were concerned about housing. Certainly affordability and the economy are number one on concerns for voters in most polls this year. 13% of Osceola County residents live in poverty right now. So, Mr. Johnson, what is your game plan for helping affordability, and in particular when it comes to housing?
I want to push for strict regulatory oversight of private insurance carriers and the amount of money that they are charging homeowners. One of the reasons why we have an elevation in affordability is because of insurance, property insurance. As a veteran, as a wounded veteran, I don't pay property insurance, and that makes things a little bit easier for me and my family. I think that if we could do the same for a class of individuals in Osceola County, or all individuals in Osceola County, and replace that revenue by tourist tax, I think that would be an avenue that I would be willing to pursue.
All right, Mr. Alvarez, same question. Is it trying to make insurance more affordable? Is it trying to lower rents in some way by providing developers incentives to provide more affordable housing? What do you think that is, and what would you do?
So I'm going to put my hat as a former HUD regional administrator. Those main funds come from HUD. It's what the state does with those funds that concerns me. In the legislature, we did fund Sadowski. We did fund the $50 million that goes for first responders and teachers, which helps on down payment assistance. On the families that live, let's say, in Osceola County, in that 192 corridor in those motels that are homeless, a step away from being in the street. Unfortunately, with the removal of property tax, all those nonprofits that are the ones that are in the boots on the ground helping them will not be able to complete their job because municipalities won't have the funds to provide to them. And so what we've done is, instead of helping, we have made it worse, where we will see probably more families homeless than we saw. But on the state side, we did do a part. We make sure that the funding was there for the Sadowski, which helps with the rental assistance for the communities, and also to make sure that our law enforcement, firefighters, and teachers that want to buy a house, that the funding is there for their down payment assistance.
Gentlemen, we're right in the middle of hurricane season. Mr. Alvarez, I noted when the governor signed the budget, he talked about $18 billion in reserves, a rainy day fund of $5 billion. But certainly flooding can be a great concern in both Osceola and Orange counties. If you are sent back to Tallahassee, would you work to try to get some of that money back into cities and counties to be able to work on better flood control?
So one of my appropriations that actually passed and then vetoed by the governor was to do something like that. So almost every water bill that we had to prevent flood was vetoed by the governor, and has been continued to be vetoed by him since he's been in office. So this is not something that we did not work on it in the legislature. I make sure that that appropriation was there for the city of Kissimmee. We had the funding approved, and the governor vetoed it. So it's really, at the end of the day, it's on him what he wants to pass. And a lot of the funding from FEMA anyway was used on that prison in South Florida that they were keeping immigrants in. And so the federal government has not refunded the state, and it's not looking like they're going to refund it. So I'm wondering where the state of Florida is going to recuperate from that funds.
Mr. Johnson, on the reserves and the rainy day fund and handling flooding as we are right here in the middle of hurricane season, what would you do?
In 2019, there was a total of $62.4 billion in rainy day funds, and those funds are essential to saving the various accounts in the U.S. I would recommend the passing of those rainy day funds because, again, we have communities that are that don't have the infrastructure, if it will, to get the flooding to a minimum. And I believe that to implement the rainy day fund will give those communities and Osceola an opportunity to take care of those individuals that are being impacted.
Thank you. Let's talk about the tourist development tax. Brings in roughly $80 million a year. Mr. Johnson, if you were elected, would you support measures, would you support a bill or maybe even file a bill that would give more flexibility to local communities in how they spend those tourist development tax dollars?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I will. And again, that's an issue that I would be discussing in a town hall with my constituents. It's a slippery slope because those tourists are going to be upset about how we are spending their tax dollars. The developers are going to be upset, but it's going to lower the affordability or increase the affordability of housing. Is going to benefit the constituents, and that's my focus.
All right, Mr. Alvarez, same question. Do you want to be able to give, not only in the district, but elsewhere in Florida, cities and counties, the ability to have more flexibility in how they spend that money?
So tourism is the backbone of our economy here in Central Florida. TDT dollars are set aside to make sure that we can provide the advertising for people to continue to come to Florida and enjoy everything that we have to offer. Once you start dipping into those funds, you're leaving the tourism industry in a hole. And there's so many people that benefit from the tourism. It's all the business owners. It's those mom and pop business owners when they come in the train to my downtown Kissimmee and they walk about downtown Kissimmee and go to the shops. And so what we're doing is we're hurting the industry twice in a row. They put bills on the floor to damage TDT dollars, and I voted against it because it's not the right thing to do. Those funds need to be allocated to what it was meant to be, which is to continue to bring tourists into the state of Florida.
Let's take a look at I-4. Certainly I-4 construction that's going on now as we extend those express lanes further into Polk County. People have mixed feelings about tolls, and I'm interested, Mr. Alvarez, what are your feelings on continuing to extend these express lanes? The governor calls it moving Florida forward. What do you call it when people, to get somewhere, have to pay a toll?
So I was lucky enough to be able to have been sitting in Metroplan as a mayor when all this began, and we approved the project. We approved the way it was going to be. The tolls are special lanes that if you want to go in a faster lane to move, you decided that you want to pay. And that is just so we can move traffic better. Everyone that complained back in the days when we were preparing this movement in Metroplan right now is enjoying I-4. I enjoy it. I take the lane because it's my choice. And I pay the toll because it's my choice. But there's also another 4 or 5 lanes that you can go through if you wanted to do it. So I believe that we need to continue the project. The project is heading west. It has to be completed so it could cover the rest of that I-4. And it's done wonders for I-4, especially those that drive I-4 every single day.
Mr. Johnson, are you a fan of tolls? And is this the right way to get people moving, continuing these express lanes?
Sir, yes, I think so. I came down I-4 this morning from Kissimmee, and I was on the express lane. It was my choice. And so that, and again, it was faster. And so I agree with Representative Alvarez that I would approve the process for special lanes, again, to get us to and from where we have to go faster, and use that money to improve infrastructure that we generate from those tolls.
Another way to get around, gentlemen, is Sunrail. And right now, since local communities have taken over the financial burden of continuing that service, Orange County paying $14.5 million this year, Osceola County $12.2 million. Would you say, Mr. Johnson, that we should continue with Sunrail, either extending to the airport, or is the first order of business if we're going to keep this commuter rail system, getting it on nights and weekends?
Absolutely, and we did not develop the blueprint for the Sunrails. We have blueprints that have already been established in Washington. We have blueprints that have already been established in Chicago. And again, we need to create a system, if it's an extension of the Sunrail, to get us from here to Miami, to get us from here to wherever we need to go in order to conduct business. And the Sunrail, the extension of Sunrail aims is to improve the transportation here in Florida. And we have a lot of tourists that are coming here that would love to be able to park their cars and jump on a Sunrail and go from one place to the next. They are, again, we don't have the blueprint, but the blueprint exists. And we should use that blueprint to make things better.
Mr. Alvarez, local leaders have talked about trying to get that corridor that runs east-west and connect the rail system to the airport. So continuing this conversation, would you support the state helping with a substantial part of that funding, or is the first thing that you need to get done getting nights and weekend service?
You know, nights and weekends are needed. But I was lucky enough to be part of MetroPlan when we allow that first connection into our lanes. It is going to be wonderful. People are going to finally be able to move around with our train. Hopefully, the one that's going all the way up to Tampa gets there and continues to be there. Sunrail is necessary. And Sunrail was not the first choice. As you know, there was another choice, which it was the rail system statewide. And unfortunately, at that time, Governor Scott, that was supporting it, then decided to not support it. And then that's when Sunrail came in the picture. I was mayor of the city of Kissimmee when the rail was coming to Kissimmee. I was able to get the fundings from DOT for the parking garage. Also, I was able to negotiate with Lynx to get the hub of Lynx Station into where the Sunrail station is in downtown Kissimmee. So yes, it's needed, and I look forward for it to complete the process.
Okay, so before we go to closing statements, just a yes or no answer from both of you. Would you support state funding helping to expand Sunrail? Yes or no? Would
I
you
think
vote
the
for
state
that?
should partner with the rail.
Okay, yes or no answer, Mr. Johnson? Would you?
Yes, I think the state should partner, yes.
All right, very good. Our time is coming to an end, so we're going to give each of you 1 minute for a closing statement. Mr. Johnson, 1 minute, please.
So, again, I recognize from my extensive experience in the military service and public policy, showcasing strengths such as leadership and advocacy for veterans, that I would be the best candidate for the District 46. I'm also I'm planning to tackle housing shortages, eliminate veterans' homelessness, increase teachers' salary, and defend the reproductive and civil rights of women, i.e. readdress Roe versus Wade. And so, having grown up in a low-income and rural sharecropping family, I position myself as a non-career politician with an understanding of the working class. I want to focus on community engagement, and I want to focus on interactivity between the constituents of HD 46.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. 1 minute, please, Mr. Alvarez.
It's been an honor to serve in House District 46 and continue to serve for so many years my community. And hopefully this election will be something in the past. The people will vote me back in office. We have a lot of work to do in next session, and I have my staff and myself are preparing for next session. So I look forward to getting your vote. Please come out and vote. Early voting starts on the 7th. And then election is on the 18th. So look forward to getting your vote and continue to work for you like I've done for so many years. Thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. These are your two Democratic candidates for House District 46. And we appreciate you spending some time with us so voters can get to know you a little bit better. The winner of the primary election, August 18th, will go up against Republican Michael Cruz and independent candidate Ivan Rivera. You've been watching West 2 News and West.com. Thank you.